Hi, my name is Wendy Stephenson, and I'm with Faith Olympia. And I am going to show you a short video from GreenFaith International. It's a wonderful video. It's very short. And then a number of us are going to talk a little bit about the event we have coming up on October 18th in Olympia.
Hello, my name is Barb Carey, and I'm so happy you've joined us to find out more about GreenFaith Olympia. The clip you just saw gives you an overview of GreenFaith International. In the rest of this video, members of our local group will talk to you more about what GreenFaith is, what we're doing here in Olympia, and how you might participate. I'll just start with an answer to the question, what is GreenFaith? GreenFaith is a worldwide multi-faith grassroots organization. It draws people of faith to act together to protect the earth and all beings as we face the current extremely dire climate crisis. Our spiritual and religious traditions all teach us to care for the earth and for each other. And by coming together as part of a grassroots, spiritually oriented group, we now have the opportunity for bold transformation, to build a life connected to the earth and to each other. In March of this year, GreenFaith groups around the world held events with the theme Sacred Earth, Sacred People. In Olympia, we had an online event that brought together local spiritual and faith communities to share music, inspiration, and actions that we see as necessary to move forward for climate justice for all. The climate emergency we face is enormous, as everyone knows. The forces working against us, the fossil fuel industry, inadequate government action, the culture of consumerism, and just plain inertia are powerful. And our community is responding powerfully. We're pressing governments to commit to a global recovery from COVID-19 that invests in a just transition to 100% renewable energy, healthy food, clean air and water for everyone, and millions of green jobs to remake the world. And around the world, circles of friends and neighbors are coming together to build equitable, caring, and resilient ways to address the climate crisis. We're a small group here in Olympia, but even as a small group, we trust that change in one area accelerates change in other areas, and we welcome you to join us. Next, Wendy Stephenson will explain how GreenFaith is working to influence COP26, the UN climate conference that begins in about 2 weeks.
Hi, my name is Wendy Stephenson. I'm going to give you a brief introduction to COP26 to help explain why GreenFaith groups all over the world have agreed to take action on October 18. COP26, or the 26th Annual Conference of Parties, is the 26th Global Climate Change Conference. It will run from October 31 to November 12 in Glasgow, Scotland. The idea of having actions on October 18 is to give a wake-up call to leaders all over the world that people care about climate change. The timing is such that it's close enough to the global summit to make it relevant, and yet far enough away that our leaders can actually take some action and make some progress for the environment and for the earth. Worldwide, many environmental and human rights groups are taking action. GreenFaith is also taking action, but we're speaking from a faith-based or spiritual perspective. This perspective is one that is often not heard, and we believe will add to the diversity of voices speaking out about climate change and concerned about climate change. It also signifies the moral imperative that faith can represent. According to the COP26 outline, the leaders will be getting together to work on 4 main issues. The first is really the meat of it, right? Secure global net zero by mid-century and keep 1.5 degrees within reach. 2, adapt to protect communities and natural habitats. 3, mobilize finance. That basically means the rich countries are going to be supporting the poorer and more vulnerable countries to adapt and mitigate climate change at their locations and to help with technology transfer. And the 4th goal is basically, quote, work together to deliver. Basically, what that means is they have to agree on the rule book to make number 1, 2, and 3 happen. COP26 is informed by the 6th report of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, or the IPCC. The recent report outlines dire warnings about the trajectory of climate change if we do not act immediately to reduce carbon emissions. It points out that we are already seeing the effects of climate change. You and I know this just from being in the Pacific Northwest, where there have been wildfires, drought, and 100-degree days, right? If we do not act with urgency, more people will be forced to migrate from their home countries to locations that will get more and more crowded. More people will die, and the rate of extinction for plants and animals will increase. We will lose something irreplaceable. That's why we must act, and we cannot do business as usual. The U.S. delegation is headed by Secretary of State John Kerry. Publicly, the Biden administration has said that their goal is to reduce emissions 50% by 2030 and to reach net zero by 2050. These are ambitious goals. The only way we are going to be able to reach those goals is to stop all new fossil fuel projects now, and to start replacing the fossil fuel infrastructure and projects that we do have with alternative sources. And we must do this now. We must act aggressively for our children and for the earth. And it will be in alignment with our spirit. Frank Turner is going to talk next about 2 important issues. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Frank Turner, a volunteer with GreenFaith. A group of us is working to give voice to the faith community. You are invited to join us in the park at 911 Adams Street Southeast in Olympia. At our gathering October 18th, we will offer an important activity. asking for action on important climate issues. Briefly, we will direct postcards and email messages to specific individuals and organizations, asking them to act to mitigate climate extremes. We will all learn about the process of maintaining firm, respectful, focused pressure where it will have an effect. Solutions to climate problems are available. Urge leaders of our banks, corporations, and government to reduce greenhouse emissions. We must ask them to remove unfair subsidies, restrain industries, and protect the poor and isolated. The people who suffer most are not those who produce the greenhouse gases. They are leaving their island and coastal homes. They suffer from drought, storms, and loss of livelihood. Where's the climate justice in that? GreenFaith has a list of climate mitigation opportunities with worldwide impact for your consideration. At our meeting, we intend to offer local and national opportunities as well. For example, the federal government can take steps to keep fossil fuels in the ground. A pipeline project called Line 3 needs regulatory approval to replace an old oil pipeline with a bigger, newer one. The purpose is to get Canadian tar sands oil to markets in the United States through northern Minnesota woods and waters. Why invest now in a 60-year infrastructure project to encourage further extraction of oil from the Canadian tar sands? Why should Native Americans shoulder the risk and disruption of this project? Let's speak up. Similarly, our governor can take executive action more easily under emergency conditions. Do you think we have a climate emergency? If so, we can speak together to urge the governor to declare it. Our audience consists of individuals who can move institutions to a better path. You will be empowered to find your own issues and to encourage others to do the same. We all have influence. Let us use it. Speak respectfully, but effectively for change in values and specific policies and actions. You speak for the silent and for the future. I hope you can attend our October 18th event and that you can participate in our appeal for relief from climate extremes.
Hi, everybody. My name is Kimmaria, and I'm a part of GreenFaith. I'd like to thank Barbara, Frank, and Wendy for sharing with you of who we are as a GreenFaith movement. And honoring our earth and who we are as a people of faith, we wish to create with you a symbol of our commitment to planet Earth. That symbol will be a community prayer tree at Fertile Ground. Fertile Ground is a property that Olympia purchased, and it has been dedicated as a peace and healing park in honor of the protests and disruption that happened the summer of 2020. We want to make a community party in honor of our work that we are doing towards climate change and making this world a world that we all want to live in for our children, our grandchildren, and their children, 7 generations out. And as a part of that, we are creating a community prayer tree in which we will be taking these ribbons and blowing our prayers, our intentions for the world as stewards we will blow our prayers into this ribbon and tie it to a fig tree on our fertile ground.